Here's kind of a quirky way to do this proof. It is actually a very useful little trick, but it does only work when you have a contradiction somewhere in your premises, which is what we in fact do have here. So first things first, we want to get that contradiction, and because this is an advanced proof technique, I'm not going to do too much explaining of how we're getting the rest of these lines. The important thing was that you have the contradiction. Now, I don't have it explicitly. I would have to use conj to derive the explicit contradiction. Now, there's a funny little thing about validity and self-contradictions, and we first saw this, I think, way back in week 3. If you have a self-contradiction as a premise of an argument, then in fact anything follows. This is sometimes called vacuous validity, right, or technical validity, but the fact of the matter is anything follows from a contradiction. Not because you can actually support that conclusion, so to say, right? I mean, the whole point is that self-contradictions can never be true, and since the conclusion, since the premise can never be true, we're never ever, it's not even possible that this argument ever be sound, and so the conclusion is never known to be true. But in terms of validity, it satisfies the definition. If the premises are all true, then the conclusion must also be true. It satisfies the definition, so to say, vacuously, which is why this is sometimes called vacuous validity, because the premises, if they're self-contradictory, can never, ever be true. So a question, though, it's not like we have a rule that says if you have a contradiction, conclude anything. How do we take advantage of that little piece of logical knowledge? Well, and some of you may have seen this as soon as this was set up, but with ds. 6 add 9 is going to be 7 and 8 ds. Is this a weird proof? Yeah, I think it is. Is it completely legal? Yes, it is. You know, pause the video and check each of the lines yourself just to make sure. Does it take advantage of logical trickery? You know, I wouldn't call it trickery. This is just how logic is, and you know, in mathematics called the principle of explosion. It is just. I don't know if it's trickery, if it is just how things are. Is it kind of a weird kind of validity? Again, yes, I'll grant that. It is why we call it a lot of times vacuous validity or technical validity. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes in a proof, you know, you are going to run into arguments that have, in fact, contradictory premises, and it's not a bad technique to have in your back pocket to be able to just derive whatever you want. And again, we don't have a rule, certainly, that just lets you derive whatever you want, and so this is how you do it.